Hari Om, Namaskaram to everyone. So the last class we did the 11th verse. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. Veda with the knowers of the Veda. That which is declared by the knowers of the Veda, they call it the imperishable. Yadaksharam, that which the ascetics freed from passion enter. Vitaragaha, one who lives a life of self-control. Brahmacharya, one who conducts his life ever remembering, reveling in the thought of Brahman. You maintain a constant consciousness. You're conscious of Brahman right through every walk of life. Desiring that which they practice, Brahmacharya, that goal I will declare to you. Tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. Right, so this is where we last concluded. Now we will chant verses 12 and 13 together once. Sarvadvarani sanyamya manohridi niruddhya cha murdhyadhayatmana pranaha asthito yoga dharanam. 13. Om ityekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yah prayatityajan deham sayati paramam gatim. Now 12 and 13 are chanted together because there's a continuity of thought. Now the 12th verse says, having control all gates, sarvadvarani sanyamya. Sanyamya means having control. Having firm the mind in the heart, manohridi niruddhyacha. Having firmly confined the mind in the heart, mundhya dhayatmana. Mundhi means the head. Adhaya is having placed, having fixed the prana in the head, established in yoga dharanam, yogic concentration. Om ityekaksharam brahma, uttering Brahman, reciting Brahman, which is ekaksharam, the one-syllabled Om, reciting the one-syllabled Om, remembering me, anusmaran, mama means me, remembering me. He who departs leaving the body attains the supreme goal. So 12 and 13. Now it sounds very familiar. Very, very familiar. I don't know, there's such a lovely coincidence what we are doing in the 8th chapter and what we are learning in the Kaivalya Upanishad. Literally so. Believe me or not, almost as if Vyasa has taken a few verses from the Kaivalya Upanishad. It exactly sounds like that. And we are just in that stage where yesterday we spoke about the element of meditation, keeping the mind, controlling all the senses. And again here he says, almost I'm thinking I'm doing the same Kaivalya Upanishad again here. So Again, I'm repeating it. Whenever he talks of meditation, which is having confined the mind in the heart, having fixed the prana in the head, reciting the one syllable Om, all of this talks of meditation. And whenever one is Gita, another is the Upanishads, the Vedas, geographically, in time, in history, different times, different periods, different teachers, yet the methodology, the principles are maintained. They're talking about adequate preparation required before you attempt to meditate. So what is the preparation? Controlling all the gates. All the gates here refers to the panchendriyas, the five senses, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. Now what do people do most of the time? These senses, either your senses are shut or closed. Symbolically, when you're shut, you are in the state of tamas. When you are open, you're in the state of rajas, which is you are allowing the world to enter into you and you are full of reaction. You are reacting to the world, which is rajas. So either people are completely abstaining or people are completely indulging. So the control of the senses is best understood as keeping your eyes half closed, half open, symbolizing you are in it and yet you're out of it. So you're not fully open, means fully engaged in the world, fully engrossed in the sensual activities, nor are you completely shut off. Kumbhakarna was said to be a state of complete, either 6 months he's sleeping or 6 months he's hogging. That's tamas or rajas. So there is no element of sattva. So having controlled all the senses, in fact, one who has controlled all his senses, this is perhaps one quality which can be used as a practice and a state. A person who strives to be perfect, tries to control his senses. One who has reached a perfect state can be understood as one who has mastered his senses. Means the path and the goal are one and the same. And how do we understand that? In the second chapter of the Gita, just take a reference of verses 58, 59 and 60. There's a very classic reference. This is a section from the Sthita Prajna, the portion of a man of perfection. Now here, in the 58th verse of the second chapter, he says, Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah. We say, he talks of a man of perfection is like a tortoise who withdraws all his limbs whenever he suspects danger. Now imagine leaving a tortoise in the marketplace. If a tortoise is in a marketplace, it will be permanently in the shell, isn't it? So much of danger, so much of chaos. So he is talking of a man of perfection, like a tortoise who withdraws its limbs when it suspects danger. So if a man of wisdom who wants to control his senses is in the marketplace, what would happen? There's so much of stimuli, there's so much of distraction, there's so much of temptations. So he will be permanently in the shell, isn't it? Is that a practical solution? It's most impractical. You want to go out into the world, you want to live a life of action, you will come across various stimuli, various temptations, various food for thought for the senses. There's sight for the eye, sound for the ear, etc. Then what's the solution? Isn't it very impractical to get locked up like a tortoise? Tortoise will say, man, what is this? I'm permanent in the shell. I can't move around at all. Isn't it? Vaishnavi, pass the mic. On Jesinan.
Guruji, tortoise going into the shell, hiding into the shell, is basically, it's not trying to find the problems outside. It is trying to find problems within itself.
No, sir, if you understand a tortoise, if it suspects danger, it withdraws into the shell.
Yeah.
In the wild also. If something is coming to attack it, the only way its defense is the hard shell can't be ripped open. Even an elephant, it can't crush the hard shell. It is so secure inside. So it is going inward because it suspects danger.
Yes, but I thought in Vedantic, it was taken differently, trying to find problems inside, internalizing you.
No, the example of the tortoise given in the 58th verse, I'll read the translation, sir. 58th verse of chapter 2, the translation says, when like the tortoise withdrawing its limbs on all sides, he withdraws his senses from sense objects. Then his wisdom is established. Where are sense objects?
They're external.
Where? External. Where are they? Everywhere, isn't it?
Everywhere, yes.
So if you want to be beware of sense objects, since sense objects are everywhere, what would you have to do? He is saying sense objects, he is highlighting sense objects as imminent danger. Watch out.
That's right.
If there is danger, you will have to withdraw. Since there is danger everywhere, you will permanently withdraw. Is that a practical solution? He is only saying, sir, like the tortoise drawing its limbs, he who withdraws his senses from sense objects, then you will be permanently in the shell. It's a practical problem you and I would have, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, he gives the solution in the next verse. In the 59th verse, he says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drushtva nivartate. What he says in the 59th verse, he says, the sense objects turn away from an abstinent man. That's the beauty of it. Venkatramji is scratching his head too early into the class. So I am very concerned. My head is aching because he is constantly scratching. Please don't scratch so much, sir. What little hair you have will go. This is the result of all my scratching. So I am very concerned for others. I used to do a lot of scratching. Huh? Mind scratching. Enna at Venkatram?
No, I was not scratching, Guruji. I was just keeping my distance.
I know you will say that. I know you will say that. Before you confess anything, I had to pass my comments. Sir, you are following?
Yeah, trying to. Yes.
Trying to? What is trying to there?
No, I think even in a practical world, what you were talking about in terms of sense objects, like, when we go out in the world, we are also attracted to many of those things. So that imminent danger, what you were saying, you basically try to retract. I'm trying to put it that way, where if you can have a control over that, I would not call it as a retraction, but probably, maybe your strength to not get tempted to those kind of worldly stuff.
If you have a control, there's a big if there, isn't it? In fact, I am just taking on that point in the 60. In the 60th verse of chapter 2, he spells it out there. The turbulent senses of even a wise man. The turbulent senses of even a wise man while striving are indeed forcibly carrying away his mind. It's not ordinary people like you and me. The senses are turbulent. The turbulent senses of even a wise man while striving can carry it away by force. So what chance you and I have in the world where the senses are drawn to the sense objects. A wise man has no control. What about a man of ignorance? You get it? Venkatanji, you follow? So the question is about the essential prerequisite of controlling the senses, mastery over the senses.
Yes.
So he says, but first and foremost, we do not perceive sense objects as danger. The whole perception of ours is wrong. We don't perceive sense object danger. We in fact give a license to the senses, to the sense objects, isn't it? What's wrong? So we don't realize the danger in it. So we don't withdraw from the sense objects. But we can't live a life of complete withdrawal and being in a shell. So 58th verse says, live like a tortoise, but seems impractical. Now you come to an ashram. Some of them are here. In the ashram here. It's a conducive environment. There's nothing here that should distract you or draw you away from sadhana. No newspaper also is delivered here. So no outside world comes in. So there's nothing that relatively the world is protected here. But you can't be in a protected environment throughout your course of activity of the day. So when you go out, there's danger. Then he gives a solution in the 59th verse. He says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. Niraharasya means an abstinent man. What happens in a man who has an inbuilt abstinence towards a particular thing? He says, the sense objects turn away from an abstinent man. So you must understand, there is a equation here. The equation is, can anybody guess the equation? I think Ramji is the person who would know the equation. What's the equation, Ramji?
No, sir, I didn't get the equation part.
I didn't say the equation, sir. You are supposed to give the equation.
The equation is that the senses are trained in such a way that they don't respond to stimuli from then sense objects, right? So that is better than just closing the senses and shutting them down. That's
You
what
can't. It is most impractical to close or shut your senses, isn't it?
Correct. That's why I train them to not respond to stimuli from sense objects.
So if there is a stimuli, not responding favorably also is a responser. Like you say, sir, I'm throwing a party. And you say, okay, as an occasion, the family, I come to the party. And then, being a social gathering, there are drinks being served. You say, sir, we are going to have a few drinks also being served. I said, I have no objection. I'll come, I'll greet you all and go. But when I'm there, a drink is offered to me. Unknowingly. I would say, no, thank you. You wouldn't do that. Somebody else unknowingly offers me a drink. I said, no, thank you. Even saying no, thank you also is a response.
Yes, sir.
The stimuli has reached me. It has not reached from you. It would never reach from you. Hopefully so. I hope so.
You can
I
never
hope
say,
so?
sir.
I know. Thank you, sir. I thank you for the faith you have in me, sir, that this man is not interested.
Exactly.
So what is the principle that governs? What's the law?
The law is that you don't respond positively to the stimuli.
That's a positive response, sir. Positive response is not interested. Okay.
No, positive response is interested. Yeah.
Positive for me, sir. Negative
okay,
for you,
whatever.
So it's a very so coming straight to the point, what is it that talks of the law which is governing all what we're saying? The law which governs The verse 58 and 59, 59 in particular, is a law of demand and supply. You entertain the demand in the form of desire, the world will come to you because you have a demand. When you don't have a demand, there is no supply. Like other day, I was overhearing a conversation of a gentleman asking for a single malt. That is when I heard there's something called a single malt. He was saying from somebody coming from US, please bring a few bottles of single malt. So where is single malt manufactured? Let's say example, Vasantama, it is manufactured somewhere in Scotland. Example. It is manufactured, brewed in Scotland. From Scotland, it goes to United States. From there, it is bought from a supermarket. It travels thousands of miles. It comes to the bar in my neighbor's house, but not to my house. And we've been neighbors for 40 years. We've known each other. But it comes to their house, not to my house. It goes to my friend's house, not to my house. Why? He has got a demand for it. I don't have a demand for it. Because I have got a demand for it, the bottle from Scotland has gone to US and from there it's come to India. Why did it take the journey? Because I have a desire or demand in my mind. If I don't have a desire or demand, the object will not come to you. Therefore, he says, the sense objects turn away from an abstinent man. Yeah, they turn away. You don't have to go in a shell. You don't create a demand. The object itself will not disturb you. It doesn't interest you. It doesn't disturb you. So you can roam freely. You don't have to be in a shell, he's saying. So he gives an example of a tortoise and then he gives a solution. Now that's impractical, man. Are you following, Ramji? Yes, sir.
No, I was, let's say you take the case of what happened to, I was just looking at a situation where there may not be a demand, but instantly you get tempted from a stimulus. Okay, you can always argue that there is a latent demand which you are not aware of, maybe inside you.
Yes.
So you take the case of what happened to Vishwamitra and Menaka. And Menaka came and then Vishwamitra got disturbed. So is that a case?
I will hold that example because the intended message is contrary to what is being perceived or quoted.
Achha,
the intended message of what Vishwamitra communicated to mankind is in fact far greater than any guru, like far greater than what Vyasa did. I'll come into that.
Okay. All right.
But you can complete
I was only saying that sometimes you may not have a demand, but a stimulus can generate a demand in you. Unless, like I said, we conclude that it is a latent demand about which you are not aware, and then a stimulus can, trigger that demand in you.
So if the stimuli triggers a demand, as you rightly said, it could have been latent. It is a potential demand, but it is latent. It's just triggered. It's also possible that when a stimuli comes, it came very fresh to you. There's something very nice. Advertisement, something comes to you, or you just happen to eat a dish. You fell in love with it or you detested it. There are people who detest durian. It's supposed to be one of the king of all fruits. It's especially found in the Southeast Asia. It's a very delicacy. And all throughout the Southeast Asia you travel, they say durians and dogs are not allowed in hotels and flights. This is a sticker you have on hotels everywhere. If you're carrying a durian, they would know that you're carrying a durian in a bag before. You don't have to carry it then. So it's a delicacy. But let's say if you have traveled to that part of the world and first time you have tasted it and you liked it, so you have created a demand in your mind. And you can never bring a durian from that part of the world to India because you can't bring it along with you or can't be brought. So what happens? Next time, whenever you ever go to that part of the world, you eagerly look forward for a durian. You did not know durian till then. The fact that you ate, it created, so you created a demand. You reacted favorably to stimuli. That is how you create new desires. You just admire silently and say, I like that. That's nice. That's how you create a new desire. So either it is latent or you create it, but as long as you have a desire, the world somehow interests you or entices you. But you have no desire for it, you will pass by, the world will not matter to you, the world will not disturb you. As long as you have no desire or demand within. So to that extent, you can live in the world, create an ashram environment wherever you are. Doesn't matter what the world goes on, but you have no interest. You're switched off from within. Can you?
AI is designed only based on that. If you show some interest, you'll have only that kind of posts again and again to you.
Correct.
So the moment you show a simple interest, you want to buy a suitcase, finished, you have all kinds of advertisements, things which keeps coming, only that.
Correct.
So AI is designed in that way, which means that we know they have already figured out how to tempt people.
How to track you.
To tempt it, you are finished. So the desire also comes from you only. Actually, it originates from there and it's already available in plenty, and one which you show the liking, it keeps coming more onto you.
And they're dangerous. Imagine, as Shivaji is saying, AI, you want to, let's say, planning to travel somewhere. I want to explore, I want to go to Manali. And you just Google search Manali, believe me or not, you will be starting getting messages, advertisements, everyone is following you. The moment you show demand, you're trapped. It's an amazing how they have captured or read the mind. So they say, sir, the world is designed for your downfall. Beware. How long does it take to fall, sir?
Just a minute.
Just a minute. You're walking down a flight of stairs. How long does it take to take a slip and fall? Oh my God, just a moment.
Few seconds, yeah.
Few seconds. You had it, isn't it? So does that clarify, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, I think SR has a point.
Guruji, this demand supply is a continuous cycle to go through. But if you want to curtail the demand, then we need to again going back to the basics of putting the filters of intellect coming into that every moment by moment. So we need to keep adding the filters. See that your demand is being curtailed or controlled.
Constantly. So the desires and demands are the realm of the mind. Because the mind is a warehouse of all these desires, right? So if the intellect does not filter in, if the intellect is not aware of what the mind is up to, you fall a prey to the mind instantly. And it doesn't take long to fall a prey because the mind is ever alert.
So these filters are getting choked because of time. With the fresh is the filter which will be more effective. I'm taking an analogy of a conventional filter, like a water filter.
Yes.
That's the one where more you filter, more you control the mind, or more you control the demands. So you're able to use a better of intellect there in that. So due course of a time, the filters also get exhausted with a muck accumulated in there.
Correct. That's why we say cleanse your intellect, Brahma Muhurtam every morning. Reddy Garu thought he caught me there. He said, I got a lacuna here. He said, okay, the intellect is a filter, but whenever we keep using the filter over a period of time, it gets choked with dirt collection. Therefore, what to do? I said, every morning cleanse it with Swadhyaya at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That is AK-47 for us.
AK-47, sir. Bofors.
No answers.
No answer back for that. No, I never expected this, but this is the truth. That's the answer, sir. If you do not do the sadhana, the intellect becomes stale, stagnant. So it has to be, so even your physical health, you can be healthy today. You relax exercising for a few weeks. A man who exercises, a few days you don't exercise, you start feeling morose. You feel you're not your normal self. You would want to at least go and stretch out a little bit, and you feel that you want to just breathe in. Because you're used to that. So the intellect gets regenerated. It's like a muscle. It has to be exercised. And the more you exercise, two things happen, sir. When you exercise, what happens is it not only maintains the level that you are, so even to maintain your existing strength, you need to continue exercising. You know that? Let's say you have X% health or stamina. To maintain that health, you need to exercise. Now to increase it, step up your exercise. So even to maintain, you need to be active. So intellect, you want to maintain your intellectual quotient, you have to do the sadhana. And obviously when we do it, we intensify it so that we are able to raise a level of awareness. Right, sir? Okay. Yes, Venkatramji.
Yeah, so I think, Guruji, yeah, I was basically, I would differ from what Kaundinya sir has told. Latent demand from a pure marketing jargon is okay, but there is nothing called a latent demand within us if we are very abstinent. And I'm talking about practical experiences of my own. I mean, people can tempt you, but if you have a resolve, I don't think, it should deter you from that. While in a marketing jargon, we definitely use as a latent demand and all. From a spirituality perspective, I would always say, and I'm only quoting from my experiences, since you referred to malts and scotches and stuff like that, I don't know. I mean, right from child, no, I mean,
only referred to malt. I didn't refer to scotch.
Well, I mean, all of that. The
so you are going beyond the scope of what I said. No, don't add things into me,
So,
don't take the liberty. Don't take the liberty. I am being very clear here. Correct, Vasantama?
So there I would say that I don't know whether there was a latent demand in me, because right from childhood till now I am almost 55. I never had the urge. Maybe I was abstinent. Now, so was there a latent demand? Probably, I don't know, because I'm only coming to the point that if you are an abstinent on a certain area, you can continue to be there. And there is nothing called a latent demand, at least from a spirituality perspective.
Why not? Now you say that you, in spite of having traveled to different quarters, having exposed to different invites, you have never, have you consumed alcohol?
No, that is what I'm saying. So there is nothing called a latent demand if you are an abstinent. I am only picking up from the word latent demand, what Kaundinya sir has mentioned. I am saying there is nothing called a latent demand from a spirituality perspective, I'm saying.
So there is latent demand is nothing known as an unmanifest desire, which is a vasana.
Okay.
Vasana, as you know, is unmanifest form.
Okay.
Vasana means unmanifest. The vasana manifests as a thought. And where does it manifest in the thought? In the intellect. Then it becomes a desire in the mind. It becomes action of the body.
Okay.
So, how do you know that you have a vasana? Only when it manifests as a thought or a desire within. In spite of the stimuli, if nothing manifests as a thought or a desire within, that's the assurance that you don't have a vasana. You don't have anything latent, unmanifest, deep within me. If there is anything, it has to sprout. For example, when the soil is conducive, if there was a seed that was buried there, from wherever it would have reached there, it would start sprouting. It just needed a conducive soil. But the soil may be there, but if there's no seed, nothing will come out. So if there is even a residue of thought in you, that means there's a residue of vasana in you.
Okay. So
You get it? So that latent desire term, even though it could be a terminology in the marketplace, but philosophically, the latent desire is known as a vasana, which is nothing but an unmanifest desire. It's a seed, correct? Vasana is a seed. And there are so many seeds in you. How do you know you don't have a particular seed? If a seed works man doesn't know, I don't know who will know. Come on, don't be joking. Biggest joke of the day. Seed works man should know what seed is there, what seed is not there. Isn't it, Gayatri Ma? For the benefit of everybody, Venkatramji is the chairman of Seedworks International, not only national, international is. Sanjay, am I right, Sanjay? A Seedworks man should know about seeds, isn't it? Absolutely. What else? Venkatramji, today a clean bowl, sir. No chance. No, you don't get a second chance
I'll
today.
take it up in person. In the sense, okay, I'll take it up in person. And still, so everybody is being exposed to the same stimuli. So if somebody is not reacting to that in a particular one, here we have picked up a specific example because that was being talked about. So you are saying that that vasana is not there in that person and hence.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no vasana. So you say, no, thank you, I'm not interested. What does it mean?
Okay.
So remember, we talk of 3 stages of the 3 processes that happen in every experience. The 3 processes are receipt of stimuli. This is the formula you examine, sir. Put this to test. Receipt of stimuli, reaction within your mind and intellect, responses back into the world through the organs of action. Now, put this to test to any vasana. You would know whether you have the vasana in you or not. The receipt of stimuli, you have no control. The world throws so many things at you, isn't it? You have no control. You put on the television, so many, you're watching a cricket match, let's say. I don't know whether you're watching more advertisements or more cricket match. Kadandi. So you end up seeing so much of junk which you have not asked for. So much stimuli comes into you. And suddenly you see a stimuli, suddenly you sit up and take a note of. Why is it? Because you are interested in it. Let's say if you're interested in automobiles, and suddenly there's a new vehicle being launched. I've been someone who not followed or chased, but interested to inform. Anything comes, I pick up and read. Suddenly an advertisement comes of a new electric car. You just want to know what it is. I wouldn't read if it's a football, or I wouldn't read if it is interior designing. It don't interest me. Example, I'm just giving examples. So the stimuli reaches you. How do you react? You react only if there is a vasana in the form of thoughts and desires in your mind and intellect. Following Venkatramji?
Okay. Got it.
Only when there is a vasana in the form of thoughts in your intellect and desires in the mind, that is when you react to the stimuli the world throws at you. Then it depends your responses. If you have an intellect controlling the response, you say, oh, it's a beautiful car. Next question, do I need one? No. Therefore, pass. Example. Oh, beautiful offer for a holiday. Do I have the time, resources, and is it necessary for me to travel? Blah, blah, blah. You process all that and say, no, I think not now. I think certainly we'll plan the next 6 months. Then you do little inquiries and put aside. It's a rational response. Or you say impulsively jump in and say, hey, very nice. Let me go and get it. That's an impulsive thing. That's through the organs of action. So this is how you put yourself through test to find out whether you have a latent desire, which is nothing but a vasana in you. I can't put you through test. You have to put yourself through test to yourself. And the only way you'll know that is by being in the marketplace. Okay, Venkatamji. So be in the marketplace, you will find out what exactly you are, and thereafter be true to yourself. Don't be a hypocrite. If I like scotch, let me buy scotch and drink in front of my wife. Don't have to have somewhere else. What is the big deal there? I have, be confessed and then.
Yes.
And if any trouble, then tell me, no, I'll talk to Karanama.
No,
That is
anyway,
there. After sales service also we provide.
no, anyway, since I don't take, so there is no trouble in that.
Yeah. Very convenient answer you have got. The reality I have to check with Karunama.
No, you can check with Kaundinya sir only.
Yeah.
He's my boss.
Then I'm very careful. then we know, then there's something fishy here. If you ask Kaundinya sir, it's something very fishy there.
I'll watch for him.
Okay.
No,
There
sir,
you
no,
can
no.
discuss
He
about
doesn't
it.
take.
Okay.
He doesn't take. I know it. Yeah. So he doesn't get tempted. Not that he doesn't take. He doesn't get tempted. So he has no vasana for drinks.
He was saying till now he doesn't take now a qualification. He's saying he
I
doesn't.
used the wrong word. He doesn't get tempted. But he may have a vasana for something else, not for this.
Yes, sir. Yes. That is there. Okay, Venkatamji?
Okay.
Right. Yes, Vasantama.
So, Guruji, you said that.
Could you put a little closer, ma?
You said that, for example, the one you have taken that you have interest in electric cars, you would see, but then you will follow up with the questions. Good. Do I need? I don't need now, whatever the reasons, and you say pass. So that means that there's a vasana inside and that you're controlling because there is no necessity for it. Or in the case of a holiday, I may be tempted to go to a holiday, but to your point, maybe I don't have time, maybe I don't have enough resources to go, whatever. So I say pass. So what does that mean? It means vasana is still there. I am controlling the vasana. Is that correct?
There's an acknowledgement of a vasana. There is influencing your effort with reference to vasana. See, a human being is not defined by the vasanas. A human being is defined by the choices and your ability to influence your vasanas.
So this is
You get what I'm saying? You're not defined by your vasanas. A human being has the capacity to be determined by the way he influences his vasanas, which is not the case in an animal. An animal is a victim of its vasanas. A carnivore, a tiger is ferocious because it has got the vasanas to be ferocious. It cannot be anything other than that. A fox is cunning because it's got vasanas for cunning. It can't be anything other than that. But a human can have a cunning nature and not necessarily be defined by that. He can change with his effort. He realizes, oh no, I don't think it is right to be this nature. I need to be more humane. I need to be more natural. I need to be more charitable, let's say. So he changes. Right? You're not just by what your vasanas are. You're defined by the efforts. That's where this knowledge comes in. It gives you the strength to influence the vasana. So that's the processing. You go through the tests as you said. Do I need to go for a holiday? I've just come out of a holiday. I need a holiday, but I don't have the time. I may be available. My family is not available. I don't think I can leave my family and go on a personal holiday. I don't think it's right. So I need to wait for a time where my family is available and yet it's the right time. And then it justifies for me to go for a holiday. So you rationalize the vasana and you put it aside. Then the problem comes in whether they can handle it internally or not. If the desire is too powerful, then you will end up bottling it up. It becomes a frustration. And this is how people let their vent in different areas. What have I done? Why are you shouting at me? It's some other vent taking out here. It's nothing, anything wrong with you, but something wrong with her, I'll enter at him. Something wrong with you, I'll enter at him. This is all going on. The total chaos inside. You get that point. I only interrupted you because you must understand the context of how it applies to an animal. It doesn't apply necessarily with a human. You had something more to say?
No, I'll hold it.
You hold it, okay.
So Guruji, human beings who are having vasanas, they are animals. It means, isn't it?
Human being?
A human being who is a victim of vasana is an animal.
Worse than animal. Just qualification to that. Aparagar is saying, so human beings who are victims to their vasanas are animals. I am saying, let's not degrade animals here. They are worse than animals. Sir, no animal is indisciplined, sir. Every act of theirs is very well programmed. They don't overeat. They don't overmate. Their eating habits, their travel habits, their migratory habits, their sleeping habits, if they are not well, they will not eat. Dogs and cats, they eat grass. They don't need eno. Only human being, hog and eat, drink eno. Animals, who governs that? Who governs them, sir? They are also disciplined. If you go into the wild, there can be 100,000 zebras. You will not be able to differentiate between one from the other. Not a single zebra is overweight. Who controls them? 100,000, not 1, 2. Can you see? You can see 100,000 deer. All look the same in the wild. Not a single one is not the one is emaciated, other is bulky. Fit. Who determines that? Who governs that? Any species. Sometimes you see so many pigeons, all look the same. Isn't that amazing? So why are we degrading animals? I'm not anti-human anyway, but since you say, but sir, since you compare that way, animals are provided by what provides for animals? Sanjay? Something must be taking care of them, isn't it? But have you ever wondered why is not a single wildebeest little overweight or a zebra little overweight than the other?
I have never wondered that actually, yeah, but you're right. They all have the same habits. No, they don't actually all have the same habits.
In a species, all zebras behave the same way. What they have, in fact, since you talk of that, all of these animals, they have known as collective vasanas. It's a new terminology, you can understand it. All zebras have collective vasanas, means all of them have the same vasanas, they behave the same way. All camels have collective vasanas, all behave the same way. All penguins behave the same way, etc., etc.
And actually, if we think about dogs, the bad dogs, it's not because of the dogs, it's because of a human influence on the dog. So humans even end up polluting the animal.
That is exactly, I know you will say the same thing. I swear, now you are anti-human.
It's anti, yeah.
No, you're right. It's nothing to do with the dog. It's to do with the upbringing or how you. So what was the question? What is it that provides for this animal kingdom? Sorry, sir? It's inbuilt in them. So whatever they need for their survival is almost got at birth itself. Barring few instincts they pick up along the way. Like even this carnivore, the mother trains the little one to how to hunt in the wild. You know, it has the natural instincts to kill, but how to, what do you call that? They stalk, you know, how to kill. It teaches the little ones. But however, Providence has provided whatever they need for their survival right from birth. Now, what has Providence given a human at birth? Sanjay? If Providence has taken care of the entire animal kingdom, the Providence should have taken care of even a human being, isn't it? Yes or no, Vaishnavi? Sanjay, hold your answer. Vaishnavi, what is it Providence has given a human? I ask you, is a human superior or an animal superior? Now give her the mic, man. So first question is an animal superior or a human superior?
Animal? A human is superior.
How many animals are in this classroom? Including online. Vaishnavi is saying animals are superior. Some of you have convincingly convinced her the animals are better than humans. Huh? My dialogue is influenced, that's what I'm saying. Completely influenced her.
Human is superior.
Now there's no other choice to choose from. Sanjay, what is it that our humans are provided?
The power of discriminate.
Soumya is seconding Vaishnavi what she said. Saying animals are superior. Soumya, I second her, she's saying. Yes, Sanjay, sorry.
So humans have been provided with an intellect, the power of discrimination, choice.
It's the intellect is that which differentiates, makes a human far superior to any other living being. But a human without an intellect is worse than an animal. What gives us the status and dignity of a human being is an intellect, the buddhi, which is a product of wisdom. And one who doesn't have that is a very sad state. The world is in a very sad state, sir. Okay, sir. Yes, Seduji? So I must say you are looking very smart, sir.
Yeah, this human being is given, he can annihilate all the vasanas and realize self, and also can avoid rebirth. Is so powerful that all the vasanas, sanchita vasanas, agami vasanas, all entire can.
Absolutely. So with the intellect, you can knock off all your vasanas, you can achieve the highest. Yes. Hariji?
Guruji, in the degree of evolution, the human beings are higher evolved than the animals. That is why we are born as human beings. Even with that higher degree of evolution, why do human beings at times behave worse than animals?
So is it a question or a statement, sir?
No, it's a question.
Can you kindly repeat it, please?
We assume that human beings, as in the degree of evolution, in the degree of development, they are higher developed than the animals or tree, whatever the non-human beings. Even under that condition, why at times the human beings behave worse than an animal?
So even though a human being is in the highest ladder of evolution of species,
yeah,
but still, why is human at times
behave worse than animals?
Behave worse animals? Because we are looking at humans today at a devolved state. when we say humans are superior to animals, when you talk of a true human, an ideal human is one who has, as we spoke, one who has got master over his senses, who operates with his intellect. So we are obviously at the rock bottom of the human development. Even if you take a human at the lowest rock bottom development, he is superior to an animal, because the intellect of a human is far more superior than the intellect of an animal. But why we are? Because of he has not chosen to work on himself, and he has become a slave.
The fundamental question is that the type of negative traits that the human beings have got, like hoarding, like feeling jealous, you take any negative quality, that only human beings have got. The animal, once its tummy is full, it never goes and hurts anybody, unless the animal feels themselves threatened. Whereas in case of human being, how much ever we have got, the greed, there is the quality called greed is not there in the animal at all.
Yes, sir.
Why is it there in the human beings? It is the greed, jealous, you take any negative quality. That only human beings have got, not the animals.
So beyond this, you keep pestering me, I will say, ask the Creator.
No, it's a question which I'm not.
I've rationalized with you is because of lack of intellect. On one side, you put the wisdom and the intellect. On the other side, you put all what you are saying. The wisdom will outweigh all the negativity, including the vasanas and ignorance. So one who is endowed with wisdom, he is no more vulnerable to these negativities or imperfections.
True, very true.
So therefore, the moment you embrace and endow yourself with wisdom, you rise and live up to the dignity of a true human being, a man with higher values. One who doesn't have it falls a prey to the lower instincts. There's nothing rocket science to understand that. So once you have this, therefore the effort we are putting in, it just justifies that what we need is to raise our level of wisdom so that we overcome and overpower the lower instincts in us, so that we don't fall a prey to animal instincts. So even a tamasic behavior is animal instincts, we say, isn't it? So you got to invoke the divine instincts in us so that we don't fall a prey to the demoniac in us. So all that is, we are in familiar grounds when I talk of that. So why we are is because lack of wisdom. Otherwise, if you give a human a wisdom, we are far, far superior. Far superior. No comparison at all. Okay?
Arjun, I think the animal kingdom, they are close-ended. Close-ended. Whereas we are open-ended. Human beings have that option to raise above any level to the extent what he can go.
Yeah.
And he has got even the thing to debase himself less than an animal.
Correct. All
both
that
options are available.
And that is possible because we have the free will.
Yeah, free will.
As Tinkima and Setuji are saying, because we have the free will, you can rise as high or you can go rock bottom. That freedom we have. But an animal has got
a fixed
beaten path.
They operate within those two lines. They don't go beyond. They have no option. Whereas we have open-ended line. There's no line for us.
So you can create the boundary. Yes. Yes, Apara Garu. Okay, got the mic.
Guruji, as you said earlier, the basic instincts of animals are survival instincts. And the basic instincts of human being are Kama, Krodha, Mada, Lobha, Matsarya. So these are inborn instincts, and intellect comes later to control them. But the first, these are the instincts that come in. Every human being has. That's the reason he's falling to those all 5, malicious thoughts.
You're discounting 2 in the list. Saying 5, he said. There's 7.
I think there is many places. First, dharma comes. Dharma is followed by the artha. Is it not? It is not kama.
Dharma, artha, kama, moksha.
Sir, dharma is not the basic instinct, sir. Dharma is where your intellect comes in picture, then you talk about dharma. But for you to get angry, if I debate with you, you will get angry. It's natural instinct. So, kama is a natural instinct. Krodha is a natural instinct. Mada, the ego, is natural instinct. This you don't need to develop. Dharma you have to develop. Intellect you have to develop.
It is to be governed by dharma, then the other issues are taken care.
Yeah.
The moment you have dharma, even the kama krodha, you know how to handle.
We are talking about basic instincts. We are not talking about controlling.
Sir, I hope you all are following online what Parauji and Shivaji said. All are following, no? Thumbs up, please. You are following. Okay, right. Ashama, you are following, no? She's not raised her thumb, so I was very concerned. Sir, you are saying dharma is not our natural state. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, bhaya. 7. So, it's like saying ill health is my natural state. Ill health, I can be unhealthy, but ill health is not my natural state. Health is my natural state. I have lost my health, therefore I am a victim of disease. Spirituality says that dharma or that state of perfection is your natural state. You have fallen from that. What you are in is an unnatural state, which may come naturally to you, but you should not believe it to be the natural state. Your natural state is health. So when you go to a doctor only removes the disease. He can never give you health. The health is your natural state. He can only take away the disease. So the medicine is for the disease, not to give you health. Similarly, Vedanta is a knowledge which removes the imperfections in the form of ignorance. What remains is the pure Atman, which is the purest state you are. And the more you unfold, remove the dirt, the true state you are, the purity what you are, starts revealing. And the question is whether you're embracing perfection, or am I comfortable with imperfection, with these negative qualities, is a choice again. But one who moves towards health, so no person ever will be comfortable with disease. However passing cold it could be. It could be a minor pain in the back or muscle sprain. You will not be comfortable because that is not your natural state. The moment you have no fever, no cold, no sprain, no pain, you feel so good. Why? It's a natural state. So when one is free from these krodha, lobha, mada, etc., that is the bliss that you revel in. But one has to strive to get to that state. Just like health will not come naturally. You want to remain healthy, you've got to slog it out. I can't tell you, you are a man of health. Means you know what is discipline, being in the Navy, you're going, what is the value of exercise, discipline is ingrained in your blood. So you don't get health without any effort, would you? No. So just, if there's any ambiguity of what I've said, you fall back on the example of health and disease. You would agree to me that disease is not your natural state and you are not comfortable when you're diseased. You want to get out of that state of disease.
Guruji, I absolutely agree with you.
Thank you, sir.
No, sir.
The fact that you agree with me is enough, sir.
But the thing is, the topic I am saying is that basic instinct. For example, a child who is 1 month old. If they listen to a loud sound, they shudder with fear. So that is a basic instinct. I'm not talking about how do you improve your health or how do the basic instincts are inborn instincts in every human being. And those 7 weaknesses, what you have spelled out, are the basic instincts. So you cannot run out of those basic instincts.
So the basic instincts, Vedanta is justifying and saying that these instincts are born out of ignorance. They are expressions of your spiritual imperfection. It's not necessary that one who is evolved has that. No, it is natural because it's common, because everybody has that. That doesn't become a thumb rule.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody has that. And you may be having a better control on your basic instincts. I may be having a lesser control.
Only maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not qualified to say. I can only say maybe.
Then you're assuming, no? That's why I'm clarifying. There are, sir. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita, when the Gita starts, says Dharma Kshetre Kuru Kshetre. What does it mean? So the land which should be of peace and quietude has become a land of conflict and friction. It's become a Kurukshetra. And it's not the battlefield out there, but it's the mind inside. So the battle is the internal battle, not the external battle. That's what the Shastras, the Gita is talking about. And the proportion, I'm going along with you what you say, sir, the proportion of negative forces in a human are far greater than the positive forces in a human at any stage of your life. 1:10? No, sir, 100:5. What is 100:5, sir? 100 Kauravas, 5 Pandavas. What's the proportion? 1:20, not 1:10 also. So the negative forces are far more than positive forces at any stage. Including now, this stage of my spiritual ladder, the negative are far more than positive. This is how I'm designed. What do I do with it? But what the assurance the Shastras give us is, the positive qualities depend on quality, the negative qualities depend on quantity. The strength of negativity is in numbers, the strength of positivity is in quality. So don't worry of the less quality of the positive propensities in you. It outweighs the negative, which has resulted in the Pandavas winning over the Kauravas with the help of the wisdom of Krishna. Therefore, we are leading the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, shall we come back to the Gita, sir? With your permission, Aparagaru. Can we? Yes, sir. I know he is not satisfied, but I'll anyway come back. Okay, sir. Right. So, having controlled all the gates, all the senses, having confined the mind in the heart, the 12th verse. Mind in the heart means the core of your personality. Fix the prana means the thought in the head, the self, the intellect. Established in yogic concentration. Reciting Brahman, the one syllable Om. Om is an idol. As we say, it's the highest idol which represents the goal, the ideal. In fact, Om is said to be the most potent mantra to meditate on. Therefore, he says, reciting the one syllable Om. It has an articulate effect. It also has an inarticulate effect. It appeals to the head and also to the heart. So when you chant the mantra, Pushpama, can you chant the mantra Om for us, please? In your sweet voice, little louder.
Oh, Guruji, voice is not good now. Okay, sorry.
Voice is not coming up.
Please.
So when you chant the mantra Om, fair enough, no problem. It has a articulate effect and inarticulate effect. So when you articulate it, it appeals to the head. Inarticulate, it affects the heart. So when you chant the mantra Om, what happens is it appeals to the heart, it quietens the heart, mind, it quietens the mind. Example, if you were to scratch two metal pieces, what kind of effect it has on the mind? The mere mention of it you find very disturbing, isn't it? But if you were to listen to a flute, a melodious flute, the instant effect, it soothes the mind, it appeases the mind, it quietens the mind. So the Om, it appeals the head and the heart. So again, 12th and 13th mantra spoke about the meditation, and again whenever he speaks or talks about meditation, he talks about self-control. You will get tired of listening to me. This is what the Shastras are saying. Let's take up 14. We'll just get into it and we'll come back again. Ananyacheta satatam yo mam smarati nityashaha tasyaha sulabham partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. Ananyacheta satatam yo mam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. I am easily attainable by that ever steadfast yogi whose mind constantly, continuously thinks of me. Satatam, constantly, nityashaha, continuously. I need clarity on these two English words. Constantly, continuously. Purposely he puts these two words. Without any other thought. Tasya sulabha. Sulabha means I am easily attainable. Joking, huh? Biggest joke this is. Lord Krishna is in a little joking mood. I am very easily attainable. Very easy. Sulabha, O Partha. You know, I know how difficult it is. But it is easy. Who is able to maintain that ever steadfast ananya cheta, that unswerving mind. Throughout the Shastras, we have given this ananya chinta, no other thought. So what is this clarification I need? Vasantama, can you tell me why he says constantly and continuously? What does these two words mean?
Then only you will not have any thoughts, Guruji. It is a continuous flow of his, when you think of the higher.
But why does it say constantly and continuously? Why is it twofold?
Constantly is always.
Okay.
Continuous means the same continues throughout. You're constantly in that same mood.
Can you come again?
Constantly is always, and continuously is you are in that same wavelength all the time. Of thinking only of the higher, and there are no other thoughts coming into you. So when only there is a continuous flow, you will not have any other thought. The thoughtless state can be attained only in that.
So the constancy and the continuity of the thought. Correct, huh? The constancy and the continuity makes it steadfast. So there is no, as you rightly say, there is no room for any other thought. It's impossible. Almost impossible. What is, sir? Huh? Almost impossible to conceive of a state where one's mind gets so engrossed, so consumed, like 365 days, 24 hours, only thought is this. There's no room for any other thought. And for one who does that, Sulabha Partha, if you put in that kind of effort, it is easily attainable. Not once a week. Once a week we put effort, then it will be once a week it will reach us there. Once in a while we will reach there. If at all we reach there. So what is the law this verse is talking about? Sanjay, can you recall the law?
The supply and demand.
That is finished.
That's finished. Yeah. No, in that
So
case, sorry, I don't.
Are you still with single malt or Scotch?
No, that was a terrible response. My apologies. No, I'm not capturing the law in there.
You can't lie. I know that, we know. So you speak the truth. So we got what you are. So what's the law where your mind gets engrossed into something? If it happens, you attain that state.
I'm thinking, the only thing that comes to me, Guru, is, and I don't think it's a right response here, but it's that that state of constant single pointed focus.
So it doesn't matter what you think of. Whatever you think of, the law of attachment. The law of attachment states whatever you think of, you become it. So when a sadhak, a spiritual aspirant, burns his every other worldly desire and gets his mind pegged on to the self and injects this principle of ananya chinta, the result of that is you will attain moksha. You will get to that state. So the law you're applying is, I am thinking of Brahman in every walk of my way. What would happen? I will invariably become the very Brahman, effortlessly. So the principle that governs that achievement is what your thoughts are, so you become. So this concept should become our inner personality for you to find out what are you thinking of day in and day out. What are you sowing? Where are your thoughts? And invariably, unknowingly, ignorantly, you're becoming it. But if only you can change the nature of your thoughts, can't we? With your intellect, change the nature of your thoughts, inject some consistency to it, very easily you will attain it. Two things, inject the thought of the self and bring in the consistency to it, you will attain it. That's what he's saying. But to that extent, you should have no other thought. No other thought. Not easy, but that's the price you have to pay. So you have to create an environment where there is no other thought into your head. Nothing else comes and disturbs you. If you allow other thoughts to come and disturb you, you will have a divided loyalty, isn't it? Am I to do this? Am I to do that? There shouldn't be any divided loyalty. There's only one purpose. So for that, you have to follow another principle. Sacrifice the lower for the higher. You may have interests, other interests preoccupying you, but you must learn to let go of the lower so that you can embark on the higher pursuit. Oh, I am interested in business, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in travel, I'm interested in doing that and this. Well, you're also interested in this knowledge, then, isn't it? Then can you inject some energy into this? Can you inject some mental resources into this? For that you got to say no to other interests and say, let me plunge into this. That's called tapas. Tapas is this, where you say no to other things and invest your time into the higher.
Guruji, here Krishna says that, when you think of me constantly and continuously, you will attain Brahman. So when he says, think of me, how do I think of him? In what fashion, what form, what, meaning or whatever it is? How do I think of him? What kind of thoughts I should have to think about him?
See, to begin with, in the 12th chapter of the Gita, Arjuna asks a question to Krishna. Lord Krishna asks him, am I to worship you with a form or without a form? He says, obviously with a form. Because Arjuna was not at the level he could conceive the formless reality. So you're asking, how am I to conceive of the self which is formless? It's abstract, I can't relate to it. So bring it down to a form or to an ideal which you can conceive. And everything you do for that. As a man who served the country, was there any other interest other than the nation's interest when you worked? You didn't think of siphoning few parts for your own pocket, did you? No, this act is against my nation. So any action you did, you only did in the interest of my nation. Whatever you did. You wore a uniform, you said, I'm representing my country, Navy, I'm going abroad, I'm representing my country. So everything you did was in the image of the nation, isn't it? So the nation was your ideal. So to that extent, what happens? Your ego, your personal desires, gone. You have sacrificed the lower for the nation. So a time will come, you will say, I want to attain moksha. Ask your mother. Because her mother, very proudly, she keeps saying that this is my last birth and I'm going to attain moksha. So you can gain some inspiration from her. So a time would come where you will be able to relate to that self-realization. So you could say, relatively, you are doing it for a certain higher causes. I want to, whatever I'm doing, the immediate goal we have learned today is I want to control my senses. I want to be a master of my senses, not a slave. Can't that not be a goal for yourself? So whatever you're doing, I want to reach that state of perfection. In that sense, there are many things, that come your way where you're able to relate to it. Ultimately, at some stage, you will relate to self-realization. So I must confess, when I started my journey, I never knew the word self-realization. So it came into our lives, we got acquainted with the idea, and I've evolved into a point where I can say I want to reach that state of self-realization. I want to aspire to reach there. So the goal becomes clearer and clearer as you keep marching closer to the object. But at least some stage you must visualize, intellectually at least, that is my goal. So till then, you worship a god with a form. Means you have an idol, you have something which you can relate to, and then go beyond it. Okay, sir? Setuji? We'll wind up with that. Yes, sir.
When the most successful and richest people in the world were interviewed, what is the cause for their success? They have mentioned that they used to always think about their target or their goal, what they want to become and all. And that continuous thinking started opening doors for them. It's not that they're just thinking it will happen. See, actually, I was in search of a guru, and you appeared because of my intense thinking on that subject. So what I feel is intense thought opens one window, one after the other, and this has been proven. And there is an extraordinary book called Alchemist. It's a small book written by Paul Coelho that also elaborates on this point.
I was also looking for a very serious and sincere student, sir. And suddenly you appeared. All right, we'll come back. We'll come back. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.